Hey, hey, hey! How's everybody doing today? Come on in, Crafting with Kim. I am coming just individually today. I'm not in any kind of group, Crafty Bunch, or the Live Painting Sisterhood, although I am streaming in there in the Live Painting Sisterhood. But yeah, I'm just coming on today. I have a little extra time, and I wanted to try to finish up my. See this thing turning around in here? This is my lamp totem pole. It's been sitting around for a while, and I'm ready to get it finished up, guys, and get this thing looking really cool. So as you come on, if you do happen to come on and hang out with me for a little bit, I appreciate you saying hello. Let me know where you're coming from. And if you're not watching me while I'm live, you don't see the little red button up there in the corner. That means that you're watching it after the fact, and you can do a hashtag replay in the comments. And yeah, just let me know that you're watching. And if you have any questions about what I'm doing here with this crazy lamp and this totem pole, you can put those in the comments as well. Or, like I said, if you're joining me for a little bit here, go ahead and just say hello. All right, so let me go ahead and take a second, make sure that I'm seeing myself in my page, because I do want to send myself over. Let me put my volume down. I'm going to send myself over to the Crafty Bunch. Since they're not actually doing an event today, I can actually go in there on my own. So there we go. All right, post. Okay, we should be good to go. All right, so like I said, what I'm doing here is if anybody's actually seen this already, you have an idea. If you don't know, if you've never joined my page and you're a newbie and all that has that good stuff, then let me kind of tell you a little bit about who I am and what I'm doing. All right, so I am Crafting with Kim, and I work primarily with polymer clay. And I do all sorts of different things with the clay. I actually have a clay video course and all that. If you're interested in learning how to get started with it, I definitely would suggest you taking that little course that I have and getting your feet wet with that. Okay, so however, I am on this like really kick lately with doing totem poles and vertical structures. And I came across, I'll show it to you full on in a minute. I came across, hey, Mary, how are you, darling? I'm just coming on for a bit to try to finish up this crazy lamp totem pole thing that I started a while. I've got the last section here to finish up, and then I'm going to be firing it, and then I'll have it at, oh, hi there, Helen. Hey, some people are actually coming on a Thursday. Like I said, I'm not in any event. I'm just coming on. I have Thursdays off for work, so I have a little extra time. But I'm trying to get this guy finished up so I can get it baked and get it sent. Not sent. Actually, I don't think it's going to go anywhere unless somebody wants to really buy it because it's a big structure. But I'll probably just try to sell it locally or use it for myself. But regardless, I'm going to finish it up today. Yeah, so it's going to be this, it was a lamp and now it's turning into a totem pole. And yeah, so what I was saying before is if you're not familiar with this process of what I've been going through, I'm going to switch my cameras and you can see the full thing in a minute, is I've really gotten like obsessed in a sense with looking at all these great like fun totem pole ideas and vertical structures on Pinterest, and I decided that I'm going to start doing a lot of them. Not This is going to be the only one that I'll do that was actually a lamp. The rest of them I'm actually going to be doing with poles, and I'll be putting concrete bases on them and then creating the structures to build up like that. Okay. But like I said, this is one that I have, been hanging around for a little bit of time, and I'm ready to just get it finished up. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and switch over. Oh, by the way, if you do come on or you're watching replay and you're not familiar with me or you haven't followed me, I would really appreciate that. All you got to do is just tap around the middle, around my nose area. You'll see three little dots up there in the corner. Actually, I think it'll be that corner. Then you can just follow, and I would really appreciate that. And also, I'd love it if you'd share out to, or they don't use that word for some reason. It's ridiculous to not to use that word, but let other people know what I'm doing here. One of my friends says, roll the clay, roll out the clay. All right. So like I said, the top part, let me switch my camera over and you can get a better idea. I think I'll have it down on my table, but I'll move it up. This is an awkward piece to try to video because of the fact that it is so tall. But let me move my camera up so you guys can kind of see what I'm working with right now. I've got it on my turnstile. It's got, like I said, I'm trying to integrate the colors, some of this blue and brown down here, and this, I really like the way it's coming together. Actually, I think it's going to be really super cool. Um, so right now, though, like I said, I've got the harp part that needs to be finished out. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to be creating these dragonflies on either side. And then basically just going to be this, by the way, this is all clay. If you did not see that part, I've already done a little video. I literally have, I taped it with masking tape, blue masking tape, and aluminum foil. And then I sandwiched the clay around the whole harp area. And so now, like I said, I'm going to put the dragonfly on that. And then I'll and adding extra colors. I'm like, not gonna do real colorful on the dragonfly. I just kind of like wing it and see how it goes. But I think I want to kind of keep it sort of a muted earth tone or something like that. So, but right now I wanted to show you like the process of how I would create this dragonfly. I do need to do it both sides, so I want it to be somewhat the same, like look the same as far as the wings and the size. So I'll show you how I'm doing that, how I'm creating that. So I'm gonna move my camera down on my table a little bit here so you guys can see. All right, so what I did is I've got this real this that I use. I've mentioned that a lot of times. It's a super sculpey clay. Usually they use it for a lot of forms like things, it's Caucasian flesh tone, but of course it's very paintable, and I like it because it's thicker, and I want something a little bit thicker for this particular project. So I had a lot of pieces left over that I had cut from when I assembled the harp, and I'm just kind of piecing this back together. I don't really all of this. I'm going to roll it out so that it is a pretty consistent thickness. If you really want to get an actual thickness that is consistent, then you can actually put two rulers or sometimes playing cards if it's real thin. I do explain a lot of that in my video course, by the way. But right now, I'm just kind of eyeballing the thickness on it because I can kind of gauge it myself. And then I'm going to cut out some, just basically all I need to do is get a template for the wings. The reason I actually found this little guy on the internet and I cut it out, I wanted the wings to be fairly consistent, like the same on either side. So I'll be creating the body, freehand, but the wings themselves I wanted to cut out. And of course I had to measure my space for that and determine, how big the wingspan could be and whatnot, and how I'm going to place it on the harp. So yeah, like I said, this is just one of those crazy ideas I had to do with the repurposing a lamp into a totem. And like I said, a lot of people might not be familiar with totems. They might, they're thinking which is kind of me too until I started looking at them a little bit. But they're actually a really wonderful art form, and they're not just the whole Native American kind of thing with the storytelling, and that was the original. They've kind of evolved into these really cool, like I said, art forms, and I'm really loving them. And there's so many fun things that you can do with them. Believe me, you guys will be seeing a lot more of this. All right, so just kind of rolling this out right now. You can see it looks just like a big old slab of fondant or something like that. And of course, like I said, I'm not using all of this. I'm just trying to get a consistent roll on it. I usually turn it over back and forth, like rolling out for cutting biscuits or a pie crust or something like that. I get it to kind of consistent on both sides, even though that only one side of it's going to be showing. So what I'm going to do now really is just cut out the wings. Like I said, I don't really need the body. The body's easy enough to create without the form, but the wings, like I said, I wanted them to be fairly, there's a little line in here that I want to kind of clean up. I want the, like I said, the wings to be pretty close, you know, as far as consistency on either side. So as you guys are hanging out with me, I'd like for you to say hello. Let me know what you're up to today. It's Thursday. I am enjoying a beautiful sunny 80+ degree weather day here in Florida. Gorgeous. Yeah, so that's what I'm about. As this warm weather, it feels almost like a summer already. Well, it's not as humid yet, but it's going to be getting there soon. Yeah, I'm loving it. I don't like it when it's cold and dreary. Depresses me. I like to be in the sunshine. Just walk in the sunshine. So lucky you get to nice. Yeah, I know. Isn't it great, Tara? I'm sorry that you're in that cold up there in those northern Nevada mountains. All right. So yeah, I just, like I said, I have to cut out a couple pairs of this, and I'll be creating on top of it. As a matter of fact, just to give me a guideline before I actually lift this up, there's a way that you can kind of draw, per se, on your clay. If you take a really skinny stylus like this, you know, one of these little stylus, you can use it kind of like a pencil. And if you have I need something thinner than that because these are thin lines. I got a little teeny one here. You can actually kind of draw like a template like this and create your your whatever, like you got a template, you can draw your guides or your lines or whatever you're doing onto the clay. You just press lightly and you'll be able to kind of see that, and this way I can kind of follow that along once I pull this up and have my I can do it freehand too, but you know, sometimes I like to be, like I said, pretty consistent. Since this is going to be on both sides, I want it to look fairly um, duplicated, I guess is a good word. Yeah. So yeah, I got up this morning. I took my nice cemetery walk. For those that don't know, I live directly across from a cemetery, and it's a great walking cemetery. It's very large and has a lot of hills. So I took my walk this morning. I was listening to my little Bible scripture and then having a good day so far. It's nice to be able to. This has been the first day I've had in a couple of weeks that I've spent literally like I can just get into my studio and not have anything else to do. Usually, I mean, not till later in the afternoon. It's nice. Last year, I had a little bit more time on my hands and I was able to spend more like full days, but I went back to work part time. So I don't have that luxury like I used to, but it's all good. Okay, so I think that my feet are freezing even in my Ugg boots. Dang, girl. Hey, have you ever heard of, let me turn my camera up. Terry, have you ever heard of Toasty Toes? Toasty Toes are really great. I used those when I lived in North Carolina a lot and I was building that crazy off the grid house. I had to live with those things because my feet have really bad circulation as well with the cold. And so, what Toasty Toes are, you can get them like in the hunting section at Walmart. And I don't exactly know what's in them, but what you do, they're in a package. As soon as you open it up, it activates this heat thing, and you stick them inside your shoes. And they actually work really well. They will keep your toes warm for hours. I mean, they're up to 5 hours sometimes. But that they have toasty hands, and toasty hands is like for putting in your pocket. But the toasty toes, like I said, I had a ton of those things, and I would just wear them almost every day in the really cold weather up there in North Carolina. So give those a try if you're not familiar with them. Toasty toes. All right, so there we go. All right, so I've got my first set of wings here. Um, yeah, definitely check them out because they're going to be a lifesaver when if you got a problem with cold feet, cold feet. What you got cold feet, then that would be a lifesaver for sure. All right, now I just need to cut this part out because I don't need all that. I'm just going to cut around his head, I guess, but I'm not going to use the head. All right, let's see what we got here. So you see how I'm doing this? I'm just literally like cutting it out, and it's pretty easy. this part, I'm just going to cut this body part off. I don't even need that body part. So all I really, like I said, all I'm really going for is the wings because I'll create my own body off of that. Should have already cut that out. Same thing with the head. All right, so there's one set. And let me see. Best way to lift this stuff up, I'm using my tabletop here. You guys can see the glare. I use the glass there. Mouse out. Did I glitch for a second there, guys? I think I might have glitched on the camera. Hey, Joni, how are you doing, darling? It's good to have you here. I'm working on this dragonfly thing so I can finish up my lamp totem pole. And I think I glitched out for a second. I looked at my screen and it glitched out on my end. What am I looking for to do here? I need to, oh, I'm looking to get my tissue blades. Where to do that? Okay, tissue blades. All right, these things I've showed you guys many times. These things are great. They're real sharp, but they're nice and thin. And if you have a sticky surface, your clay generally is a little sticky, then you can just lift it right off with these things. Just kind of do that little saw motion and it comes right up. Well, this one I actually stuck. All right, that one I didn't get underneath it. I'm going to put it back. See how I can do that? I didn't get it all the way off because I didn't put it underneath all the way. Let me try it again. If you don't get it right underneath that whole thing, some of it will stick. And of course, the cornstarch is the way to go if you want to keep this from sticking. But this way is the way you can lift it up. Okay. And you can see a little bit of those lines maybe in the camera. I don't know. Like I said, I paid extra for this fancy camera. And my other one, actually, I liked a little bit better, except they had a fisheye, but it didn't do that in and out focus thing, which drives me crazy. Sorry about my laptop being in the way over there. All right, so anyway, so there's one set of wings. So how's Joni doing today, Miss Joni? You doing all right? Just a few seconds, though. A few seconds for what? Let me see. Oh, just a few seconds of glitching. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Last week, I had a total, Facebook had a blowout, man, like crazy blowout. All right, so that's one set. Let me do the other set. And I got bumped off during my live in an event with a crafty bunch. It was kind of crazy. I've never had that happen before. Looking out, I'm actually in my studio. I know you guys, I have a actual like shed studio, she shed, whatever, and it's got a roll top with a screen across it. And I'm sitting here looking directly out at the beautiful sunshine back at my house. And it's kind of nice to be able to see that nice sunny weather. Makes me happy. All right, one more set. And then once I get this set cut out, I'll be able to, I'm going to put it up on that little harp area and work with it from there and create the body. So what are you guys up to today, Terry? Are you doing anything creative? Are you doing housework? You with the kids? Are you still homeschooling, Terry? You still homeschooling your kids? Or I think you said they went back to school or something, right? So yeah, I try to make this pretty simple for you guys to be able to understand the concept if you ever wanted to do it yourself. So I'm cutting out I don't even really need the head. I don't even know why I'm cutting out the head. That is a nice view. My view is over a foot of, oh, wow. Snow. Oh la la. Yeah, people don't realize that you actually get snow. Hi, Terry, by the way. Terry L. I'm going to call you Terry L. because I know that last week, like I told you, I was married to a Greek. I was married to Missalitis forever. And those names are, you can butcher them. If I thought about it, let me see. Tas Pastavolusis. I know I'm a little bit butchering it, but it's good to have you here, darling. But yeah, people like Terry Woodhams. She lives in Nevada, and she lives in the high Nevada, and they definitely get snow up there. A lot of people don't realize that the desert areas can get snow. I used to live in Arizona and Nevada and New Mexico. So I'm familiar with that kind of area. Oh, this one already had like the little things already. That's weird. I wonder how that showed up. Well, I can guess. No, I think I can actually see that already if I wanted to follow those guidelines there. Yeah, for some reason, I mean, this clay is so sensitive to any kind of impression that you just put a little bit of touch on it and it'll show. But what I was saying is even with me cutting out, just pressing this paper down on here to recut it a second time, the the embossing image from the back actually showed on the clay. That's how sensitive it is to um, to impressing and cleaning up and whatnot. I just did my own on that one anyway. Working on a Western theme. Oh, you mentioned that last night. Yeah, you have somebody that wanted a Western thing. Keep the kids up. Okay, back to government school. Gotcha. I don't blame you. I mean, I only had the one kid, but I managed to get through to her. But she was in public school for her pretty much her whole school career till she decided that she didn't want to go to high school anymore, and I had to do issues with that. But that's another day. Long time ago. Okay, so like I said, I've got my two pairs of wings now. Now I'm gonna switch up, put this on top so you guys can see how I'm gonna pretty much apply it. Excuse me, all my messy stuff in the background there, but I think any crafter and artist is gonna have a messy spot. Mine's pretty actually organized for all that I got going on. All right, so like I said, this is the same clay. I've sandwiched it up before, and so I love your wings. Thank you, darling. So, like I said, I don't know. I think I'm just going to cut that head off. I don't need that head. Off with their head. Off with the head. I'll probably just end up because it's going to be a big ball anyway. I don't want it flat. The wings are going to be more flat because wings would actually be more flat. But the rest of the body, I'm going to make dimensional. All right. So, first set of wings is, let me see, placement wise, they're kind of big. Like I said, I had to measure them when I was looking at my little paper template here. So they are a little bit big, but I'm going to put them, see if you guys can see this. I'm going to put them a little bit like that. They might hang over the edge somewhat, but I don't care, honestly. Like I said, all this is going to get painted up. I didn't really want to do my thought process and my vision is not really, making this very colorful. The actual dragonfly, I was going to kind of make it all one color. And then, but I don't know. We'll kind of see how it evolves. I always kind of play with things a little bit. And it's kind of neat with the clay. I mean, you can actually bend it a little bit to make the wings kind of stick out somewhat. They don't have to be all flat. I love working with the clay that way because it creates that extra dimension. So this, like on the ends there, you can kind of turn them up a little bit and that kind of thing. All right, so there's one set, okay? And yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and put the other set on. I think they'll stick enough. It's pretty warm and sticky in this weather, so they don't think they're gonna fall off. Now I could do the same ones going the same direction, or maybe I'll do this one going the opposite direction just for interest. So you guys are still dealing with the snow. I am so sorry for that. I would not want to be doing that. You guys have to just come to Florida, come visit. What's going to be kind of cool is once I get this baked, this is going to be interesting to get this thing baked. Like I said, I did actually finagle this before I even put anything on here. I took it and I stuck it in my oven, and it fits kind of like kitty corner in there. And I'm like, I hope the clay's not going to be touching the racks or whatnot, but I think I'm going to be able to manipulate it in some way to be able to just get it in there and close the oven door. I like normally, if you're going to do a totem, I will do the pieces individually. I'll be able to create the individual balls or individual structures or whatever I'm doing, and then I'll be able to slide them on the poles, so they'll be easier to bake and manipulate. But this one, because it was all assembled, I didn't want to take the lamp apart and go through all that, so that's why I'm like, it's a little bit wonky funky, but I think it'll be all right. All right, so there's the wings. Terry says, I bet Florida is beautiful. We're 1 degree this morning. Oh gosh, no, thank you. Like I said, I've been there, darling. I know. I've lived in those snow countries. I used to live in Montana when I was in high school. And then I've lived in Connecticut, which I hated. And then, no offense to people in Connecticut, I just didn't care for it. Too cold, and the area I was living in was not fun. So Yeah, I'm just glad to be. I've always been more of a Sunbelt girl. I've lived born in Alabama, but I've lived in a lot of like southern states where it's pretty warm. So, and been in Florida like 23 years. And I know a lot of people come vacay in Florida this time of year. All right, so I'm just kind of for the head, I'm just literally creating a couple little balls here. Nothing fancy, but I need to put those big old funky eyes. How the dragonflies have those big old crazy eyes on them. I'll put some. Those are just a couple of balls too. Think about it. Even with drawing and creating, it's all just shapes. You're just working with the various types of shapes, either circles, squares, triangles, lines. It's all shapes. Hopefully, I'm trying to get these about the same side, but nobody's really going to be able to tell, honestly. I think for these, I'm going to go ahead and add, just because they're small balls, most of the time this clay sticks pretty well to itself. But since these are small balls, I'm doing a little tap. Actually, I'm tapping a little bit to kind of create a flat spot on the back so it'll stick better, and trying to keep it round that way. Or you can just press it with your finger too. I know it's kind of small. You just press that little area there and make it kind of like um, a half bead or whatever. And then I'm going to put a little bit of this Sculpey glue on there, because that will help it. This stuff is kind of, the only problem is it doesn't dry very well at all, and it can get a little bit runny, like if you get too much. All right, so there's one head. Okay, there's one head. Now I put the other head on. Yeah, it's probably just best just to press it down with your thumb a little bit and get a little flat spot. And you can always reshape your head up there. I think that head's big enough. What do you guys think? Does it look like a big enough proportioned head for a dragonfly? I never did really like dragonflies' heads aren't crazy big compared to the wings, but I know I did create another dragonfly, like which I actually sold an auction last month. A little cool dragonfly, like a mobile thing that I created. Dragonflies are cool, and this was the choice that everybody chose, and I put out the poll. I was thinking about a bird initially, but then I do love dragonflies, so and that was the winner. That was a hands down winner over almost. So there's two heads there. Now we're going to do the body. The body is sort of the same thing. It's just like a little, you can do it a couple different ways. You could actually put my camera down here a little bit. You could actually just take a little bit of your clay and just roll it out into like a long, what they call sausages or whatever you want to call it. People call it different names. You could just do one of these little guys and kind of roll it out and then make the body from there. That's a real quick way to do it. You can also take, and then I'll show you. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to do that. That's the easy way. Is you're going to create like these little rolls. Now think about it. The body on a dragonfly is going to be thicker at the top, and it's going to kind of taper down at the end with a little tail. So if you're rolling, you can actually press the clay back in like that to kind of bulk it up a little bit, and then just kind of form out your little body. I don't know. I need kind of a little bit longer. I want to be kind of a longer body. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Now I could have used any clay, really, honestly, the polymer clay for making this part, but I just love working with this clay over the other clays because it's so much firmer. Until a person actually gets their hands on um, like a Sculpey clay or one of the other clays from like Michael's or Walmart, you really don't understand what I'm talking about. But once you do, you'll realize how much, especially for hand building, how much better this clay is to work with. All right, so I think that might have it. I do need to create one for the other side. So yeah, that's going to be a good right there. Good, 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 good. All right, so I'm going to create something, like I said, about the same here. I love dragonflies. I'm trying to just get it right. Could you send me a copy of your cutout? Yeah, sure. I think I still have it. I created on my you know what I did? I just took something off Pinterest, but I still have it. I could send it to you. And then I just shaped it to the size. You'll have to kind of create whatever size you want. I put it in my publisher program and just worked with it there because I had to kind of like put it in my program to shrink it down to the size I needed. But I can definitely send you the Pinterest one I have. It's just a basic template. Are you a Pinterest person, Terry? Are you on Pinterest? If not, you definitely should get on there and join my page. That's another thing that I have right now. I have a lot of stuff on Pinterest, and I have my almost all of my work. I try to post on there anything that I've got. I've got my own little Mud.Clay.Art page, or not pages. Not I guess I don't call them pages on Pinterest. I don't know what to call them, but I do have my Pinterest board. I guess that's more of a board there. Have that going on. I'm trying to make these fairly close. Like I said, nobody's going to be able to really, they're not going to scrutinize them that much as far as having them. Now, if a person, I'm going to tell you a little trick. If a person really wanted to have something very consistent, like they're doing multiples of something and they really wanted it to be accurate and have the right measurements, the way you would do that is that you would make sure that whatever clay you're working with is the exact portion. So in other words, if it's a flat piece like this, like a slab, make sure the consistency of the roll is the same, and then you cut out the exact same piece that you're going to work with, and that way you know that you're using the same amount of clay, and whatever you're creating would be the same. Say you're doing two eyes on a doll or something, and you want to make sure they're same thickness, and then the same kind of like a little cutout circle or whatever, and that way you'll know you'll have the exact same amount of clay, and it will look very close. All right, so I think that's good. The tail. All right, so what I need to do with the dragonfly, I know this is a little bit distant, so I'm usually a little bit closer, but like this is a very awkward piece to work with. But for the dragonfly actually has sections on its body. I'm going to kind of curve that little piece down there. So to create that, it's simply you can use the back of an X-Acto knife. You can always use the back of a butter knife. If you don't have the butter knives, are easy, they're fun. But I'm just going to create some like little sections. Like I said, another way I was going to tell you, if you don't want to do it like this, you can actually create just like little balls and have each little ball like be a section of the body. But this is just another way of creating the body. So I'm just kind of doing like a small impression in here to kind of create those sections. I don't even remember how many sections they have. I'm not looking at a reference. I'm just kind of winging it. And maybe I need more sections than what this is. I can't remember if there's a lot of sections on a dragonfly or not. But anyway, it does have the little sections on the body. And so you don't want to press too hard because you don't want to cut through your sections there, but you want to get it to enough. And I'm just kind of going on the sides a little bit because that will be seen. And then a little section here maybe. And I can kind of play with it once I get it on there and see. But I don't know if that's enough sections. I guess I should give me a reference to really know if it does have a sections or just a few sections. What is your Pinterest? And I'll check it out. My Pinterest is Kim Martinez. That's easy, like my name. And then it's Mud.Clay.Art. Mud, period, clay, period, art, period. Love to have you over there on my Pinterest page. I was going kind of gangbusters with Pinterest for a while, but I don't know. I had an issue with it with my phone, and I got a little bit of nag with them because I'm not an Android person, and they're very much Android people. So some of the features that I need to have access to, I can't get access to because, I mean Android, I mean iPhone. They really like the iPhone format. So yeah, I'm still using it, but I'm not promoting myself on it as much as I used to. I can't even see lives on it, and I don't know what the hell that's about. Excuse my French, but I cannot seem to get lives on there. All right, so what I did here, as you can see, I created like just little sections of the body, to kind of go on there. And I think that's enough sections. I don't know. Like I said, I guess I could look if I really wanted to get a reference, but I want to repeat the similar thing on this one. Oh, thank you there, Miss Terry. So I know when it's cold and snowy weather, this is the perfect time to be hanging out and crafting and watching other crafters and just having a good time. I tell you what, if I was in one of those areas, that's exactly what I would be doing. Any free time I have, even in the summertime, I mean, I love being outdoors. I love going to the water and beach and, exploring tell you what, I try to get as much studio time in as I can. I really do. I mean, like it's very rare that I have a full day where I can just create. There's always something going on that's kind of takes my time up. So it's lovely. And I could spend 15 hours in here if I had my druthers about it. But, I am married and sometimes my husband likes for me to spend a little time with me. Really? He actually wants me to spend time with him at the end of the day? Okay. Now, if he's doing something, then I'll come out here and work while he's doing his thing. So yeah, I'm rolling it over because I want to be able to get a little bit on the sides too, because the sides will be seen. Like I said, of course you can play with it once you get it up there on the piece too, but the more you can do down here, I think the better. All right, so now I'm going to switch my camera back up here and then add this, okay, onto here. Now, a couple things. You've got this section right here that I did not cut out for, where the body would go. And technically, if you wanted to take that little middle section out, you could, but I don't really see the point. It's kind of like the bulky area of the body anyway. So I'm going to leave that on there. And so, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add the pieces on there and kind of go like that. This is a very interesting piece to work with, guys, let me tell you, because it's so flat. And I think I need to stand up for this one. Hold on. Try to get that body up there, stuck up there. All right. Now, as I got it on, I'm realizing that I need to do a little bit more on the sides here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I know you can't see all the small detail, but you get the idea of what I'm doing. And this is like, I mean, let me put some glue on there. This is a pretty big piece, though. I think it will stay. Once it bakes, the stuff sticks to itself pretty darn good. All right, so that's basically it. See how simple a dragonfly is? Like I said, you want to define the wings. You can. I'm going to show you the one that I sold right here. I'll show you in the camera. You guys might have seen this, but see how this one, I actually defined the wings, like put little extra pieces over the wings and define them. It's up to you how detailed you want to get with this. I'll probably add a little bit more impression to it, but honestly, I wanted to keep it relatively simple um, because it's not going to be really, really colorful. I'm just going to put a little bit of accent of color on it, I think, and I'll probably do that after I bake it. So let's go ahead and get that other one on there. And see how easy it is, Terry? Really, you cut out a little template of wings, you make a round circle for the head, and then you make a long, like little sausage for the body, and you're good to go. All right. Like I said, make sure that it sticks pretty good onto your piece. Okay, you want to make sure that it's actually making contact so that when it bakes, it'll be nice and secure on there. If you're ever, like I said, if you're ever in doubt, you can use a little bit of that, what you call it, that glue, that polymer. I don't know, that's too big. Use this one here. Yeah, I might have to look at a little references. I don't think there's anything else really that goes on the dragonfly body. I mean, it's got, if you wanted to create a little extra texture, just for something artistic, what I might do is you could take the end of your stylus, wrong side, end of your stylus and just kind of poke some little decorative holes or something. Actually, you know what? I might do that just to create a little bit extra interest in there because it looks a little cuter. All right, because I love texture, and creating with clay is a lot of it is about texture, creating really fun textures. And I actually do it like that. It gives a little interest. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. We can bring that up. Grab this sucker. See how I created a little bit of extra texture on there? There we go. You can see that, I think, if my camera gets in focus. Yeah, anyway, I put some little dots on there for texture. All right, so then I got to just basically do the eyes. Create those little funky big old bug eyes. And then besides doing a little extra, I'm going to work on the wing veins a little bit to kind of bring those out somewhat. Then I'm pretty much done with it. And then I'm going to do some painting on it. I'm going to paint it, paint it, paint it, paint it. I could easily paint this after I'm done. I considered doing that, but I don't know, maybe I will. because that way I could just paint the whole thing and not have to worry about all the mat, because it'll be nice and sturdy and hard then, and I won't have all these floppy pieces going around. But the reason I was thinking of not painting it is because I wanted to paint this, and then on the edges here, I wanted to put some extra like little balls, I think, with some decoration on there, some color. So if I do that, then I don't want to have to rebake this more than once because it's awkward. So I want to do it all at once. All right, so let me put some bug eyes on this thing. And I need 4 of those little puppies. So I'm trying to make them somewhat consistent. I know they're pretty big. Thanks, Tara. Appreciate that. 4 bug eyes. Now to create the bug eyes, the best thing to do is when you're doing any kind of eye sockets, once again, a stylus comes in real handy. You try to find a stylus because you need to create like a little socket area for it to sit on, especially when you're doing human eyes or even pets and whatnot. But I'm going to be, see if I can, no, you guys, I feel bad because you can't see it, and I like to be able to have you guys see what's going on. I got to be very careful about how lifting this thing. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just creating like 2 little, I'm kind of pressing and create, I should have done this before I put it on, 2 little eye sockets to kind of, so that the other bug eyes will kind of sit in there. Like I said, I should have done this before. Actually, it looks cute like that, but I am going to create the actual big old bug eyes on it. And it's got 2 little holes. Once again, if you can see that, I created 2 little holes there. See, there you go. And then I'm going to do that on the other side. And that way, your little round pieces will just kind of sit right in there in those holes. Like I said, you can just leave it like that if you wanted to. That doesn't look so bad. But I actually want to make it more buggy looking in the eyes. So yeah, these little stylus are very, very handy. And they work really great for doing a lot of polymer clay work. All right, so we got that. Now, let's get those eyes in here. Let me roll up a couple more. I've got enough for 2, I think, already. Trying to stay pretty consistent with size. I'm never one to really measure out very well. I always just kind of eyeball things, and because a lot of my stuff is very whimsical, I'm not trying to be precise. I tell you what, I have a lot of respect for a lot of these people that do faces, like they actually I've seen some polymer clay people that recreate faces, people's faces, and they do custom face work. I think at some point, if I really tried, I could probably do the same. I just haven't taken the time to do that, to really try that. Because I have done some faces of my own, not really copying anybody, but I just created some faces. So I probably need to work on that a little bit, but I think I can get it. Okay, so I'm basically just sticking these little guys in here. And I want them to be really big and buggy, kind of cute. There we go. That one might be a little bit bigger, but I think it's okay. All right, so now put the other side on, and then you can see. I'm going to open that one up a little bit more. The thing, too, about this clay is if you goof, it's very forgiving. So you can always fix whatever you goof on. Okay, there's one. Take a little bit. I think I got these a little bit bigger than the other side. Maybe not. Those other ones actually might be too big. I might take them off. They're quite buggy. Buggy. All right, so that one. Yeah, I like that better. I think these on the other side are a little bit too big. They're cute, but I'm going to take them down a little bit. Had a little bit too much clay on there. Yeah, like I said, it's just studying it, and once you learn a few basic techniques of how to create your structure on your faces, and do your noses and your eye, you're studying the actual structure of a person's face, with the forehead, which I've done, in drawing classes and stuff in the past. But yeah, it's a little bit more challenging to do that kind of thing and to try to get it a true representation of the person. Is that one pretty close? I think so. Yeah, I like those better. Okay, now to create, even they do this when you do faces and you do eyes. This is one of the things that you'll see a lot of times if you were to study If you were to study, like go and look at sculptures like Michelangelo, whoever, who've done facial sculptures with clay or bronze or whatever, one of the things that they do with the eyes itself to kind of create that little the pupil effect is they make a little hole right in the center and it gives that dimension and it looks more like your eyes. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of creating, putting a couple little circles right there. All right. And there we go. Okay. So now let's get close enough for you guys to see that. Get all my madness of clay out of here. You might be able to see those little holes I have in his eyes. So you can see them. See? Eye holes. He's just really cute and simple. I'm not going for, realistic. Now, all I'm going to do, like I said, is just give a little bit more dimension here with these veins in the wings so they stand out a little bit more. These wings are a little bit thick, but I kind of wanted them on the thick side anyway because I wanted this to be able to be standing out fairly dimensional. And like I said, as I realized, I don't even really need to go like trace all the other veins on the other one. I just could do it my own way. Kind of get them in there. So yeah, I'm just taking my stylus, like working it like a pencil or a pen or whatever, and then just this is the way you kind of draw into your images. Another fun thing is it can be really cool to do with clay is create reliefs. One thing I do need to do too is if you realize the wings, your top wing on a creature, especially this, is it overlaps on the bottom wing. So what you would need to do to create that real dimension is make that little line definition in here. Like you separating the two wings, if I can show you that. You're separating these two wings here because you want to it look like, this wing is on top and they're not two wings. So it looks a little bit more, I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm just separating these wings so that it looks more like the one sitting kind of separate from the other on top. What colors do you think you will be painting it? Well, like I said, my initial concept was I'm thinking about doing this top part sort of like I'm keeping these in earth tones. So I think I'm going to go kind of like something like this, like a khaki tan over the whole thing, or maybe even start out with like this one here, the second one here is like that antique white, because I want to try to tie a little bit of the colors in. So I think I'm going to do the whole thing initially on the top part, like, cover it with antique white first. And then I'm going to, kind of work with the colors a little bit and just bring a little bit of I want to kind of tie in a little bit of this color here. This is kind of what color? Like I said, I just painted all these with the acrylics. The dry clay color. This is a kind of a muted green, kind of sage color. I want to tie not every color, but some of the colors in so that it looks like it all kind of works together. Now, another little cool thing is, like I said, these little acrylic tools, these little silicone tools are excellent. And you can get in there and you work that so it keeps you from having fingerprints all over, and you can get into tight spots. You can kind of press that down a little bit. Okay. And that smooths it out and it actually creates that dimension. I wish you could see that. And I just made a big boo-boo on this part, but I can't wait till this thing is baked because this little part here is driving me nuts. I've touched it so many times and it keeps getting a little bit out of the whack, but I'm like, yeah, it's whimsical. I have to try to press it back on. I know it's a little bit wonky, but hey, it's all right. Okay, I think it's going to look good overall. All right, so now, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and define that wing as well. Put a little bit more impression on these wings with the veins. Okay. And I'm not really matching them, honestly. I mean, I should, I guess, but on the other side is the set that I drew out. I followed the actual pattern. So I'll probably, sorry, camera down. I'll probably follow the pattern more of what I've drawn on that side. All right, get that little separation between the two wings there. And you'll find that when you do this, it rolls, the little boogers, I call them, kind of roll off your clay because you're actually removing some of the clay when you're doing this. I know it's probably not fun watching something when you really can't see the detail on it, but okay. And then I'm just going to take this guy and kind of press it down a little bit more to kind of create a little bit more definition. It's hard to see in the camera, but it is there. It is there. And I think it'll show more once it's painted. Okay, now let me go ahead and put some lines in this one. Define these veins, and then once I do that, then I'll start painting it. And of course, color. Color is going to bring it to life quite a bit. Bring it out. Yeah, but whatever I do, I got to create all the color at once. Well, that's not true. I mean, I at least got to get my base colors on, because once it is dry, I can go back and finish my other color. If I was going to make this, which technically this could be an outside piece, if a person wanted to put this in their garden, you could, or like a nice patio or something like that. You could definitely do that. Or it could just be a piece for your house, inside your house too, sitting somewhere. All right, find my lines. But I want to try to get as much of the clay color, or the coloring that I'm painting, baked on into the clay instead of putting it on top of a surface that's, already been baked, because it makes it more durable, especially for outside. Even though paints can endure, but over time, they start fading. I was actually looking up a little bit about polymer clay and how it fades in the sun. They said it does pretty good. It takes a long time for the colors to fade with the polymer clay, which is good. If it's painted, it might be a little bit different, but that's what I want to do, is make for outside. Yeah, actually, like I said, the one thing it's great about that's why, using these, creating these totems, I'm using the polymer clay so that it could be for either. If you knew for sure that it's going to be an inside piece and that you won't have it for outside, you could use air dry clay. Air dry clay is pretty friendly. Like I said, it takes longer to dry. And you can create your little totems or whatever, your figurines, using the air dry or the foam clay. But since this could possibly be an outdoor piece someday, that's why I went ahead and did it with the polymer, because the polymer could withstand weather conditions and rain and all that. The only thing is that once it's baked, it's pretty good. But if you were to like get it out like super hot, like oven hot, like 275 degrees, then, your pieces will start to get soft and could potentially droop, or depending on what you're doing. So, but I don't think there's any place on earth that really gets 275 degrees, even though it gets hot in the summertime. So I think would be pretty good with keeping a piece outdoor, although it feels like it's 275 degrees in Florida sometimes. And you guys know that in the desert, it can get some pretty hot stuff going on out there. All right, so I think that's pretty good, honestly, in itself. I think I did pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some paint on this puppy. Is that looking okay? What do you guys think? One side, and the other side. Okay, I was thinking about it. It actually has a little bit of texture that you can't see in here. And once I said, once you get it painted and I kind of like grunge it or distress it down, you'll be able to see some of that texture in there. All right, so let me go ahead and put a coat of paint on this right now. I guess this is the first coat. It might have to have two coats. Let me get all my clay out of the way. Here. And if a person wanted to, I thought about, you could even add some other little pieces on here. Some fun, I thought maybe put some circles with some fun little decorative things on here. I could still do that too if I wanted to. Right now, I'm just kind of going with this. Okay, paint, Kim, paint, right here. Now, like I said, I'm in my head, I have a vision for it to be, at least start out with the base coat of this antique white. Once again, if you don't use this clay, although with this particular piece, in the way it's had to be positioned, I would not try to use the regular Sculpies or the or like your Craft Smart brand because they're too floppy. This one is a heavier duty, firmer clay, and it's easier to manipulate and work with, like picking up that slab and putting it on. It works much better when it's firmer like this, because it would kind of be a bit of a nightmare to try to do that. I could have, you could have worked it where you just had your clay color already and you didn't paint it, but me knowing the type of clay that I was using and trying to put it on this thing, this is much better way to go. All right, so I'm just going to slap some color on here. And I can do it a couple different ways. If you use a brush when you're painting this polymer clay, it can get a little streaky sometimes. Like my brushes are pretty crappy. I'll be first to tell you, I do not take care of my brushes because I don't do a lot of painting like acrylic canvas painting anymore. I just kind of use them for crafts. But I'm going to start out with this one and see how it goes. And sometimes I might switch to a dauber. When you do the little sponge daubers, it helps so you don't make a lot of streaks in your on the clay and actually on this. So you can use these things. I don't know. Should I just go ahead and start with a dauber? The only thing about using the dauber sometimes is it kind of creates like a little texture bubble, but you know what? I'm just going to try with the dauber. We're going to start with that. That's what I call these little sponge daubers. All right, so I just got some on there and I'm just going to go ahead and start putting it on here. And I might have to switch to the brush too. Depends. This, like I said, this is a very awkward piece. Oh, by the way, I have to remember too that I have this little top part. I have my little screw here, like where the lampshade would go on. And I'm going to put maybe like a little flower or something up there. I got to remember that too. But I actually, thinking about that, I might have to create that separately after it dries in the oven, because I think this is like my point that was like sticking in the oven and it would be squished. So I'd have to create something air dry or something that's dried and then put it on there afterwards. But yeah, I have to finish it off with a cute little, I think I'm just going to like a little flower or something on top. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not liking the dauber effect too much. That's not working for me. All right. Yeah, sometimes it's trial and error. Got to figure out what you want. Can't hear you, really going in and out. Oh, I'm going in and out? Okay, that's interesting. I do have my earring on, and I know I forgot to take that off because sometimes it bangs on my, hold up, let me take this earring out because it clangs. I've got my Bluetooth thing in here, and I don't know if that's going to help, but let me check my settings too and see if my audio is still working pretty good. Audio. Hello, hello, hello. Yep. Okay. I should be pretty good. Maybe that earring had something to do with it. It was kind of clanging. And Terry's told me about that a couple times. The other Terry Whittams, and I forgot. I had to do a promo video this morning for the Crafty Bunch. They're doing a really fun spotlight feature thing, which is kind of cool. I can tell you about that too. So I'm excited. So the Crafty Bunch for the month of May for March is they let us people that are presenters in the group put in suggestions for for events like what we want to do, and then they kind of voted and kind of like a uh, you know choice award. I don't know whatever how they voted, but they picked me and 8 other of the presenters' ideas for that month. And so on March 8th, that's when I will be spotlighted. And it's actually pretty cool because, as you guys know, I don't get on as much as some of these other crafters. And I haven't really been like working on trying to build a page and building up my followers and all that. I just try to do the best I can with the time I have. And anyway, so that day is going to be a spotlight all about me and the other crafters too, whatever their day is. But we're going to be, my theme, by the way, that I picked, and all the crafters have to do something along that theme, is going to be unusual planters. So they pick, like I said, it's whatever they want to create is an unusual planter for either flowers or a plant. And so I've got this really fun little idea that I'm coming up with for doing like these little fun houses, making them into a planter. That's kind of what I'm going with. But it's kind of cool because what they're going to be doing is throughout every person, like every crafter that is going to be participating that day, is going to be talking about me or them or whoever the spotlight person of the day. So we're going to be spotlighted and all the links and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be great because it'll really help kind of bump my page up a little bit and get me some more followership. I'm like, oh, that's great. And I think I would like if they did that every month. I think that's kind of a cool idea because it really helps build the people up. A lot of these ladies, they go on quite a bit. I mean, they're always on there, but I just can't do that. Even though I don't have children, I've got a man child. No, baby, I love you. If you watch this on replay, I love you. But I do like to spend time with my husband. I like to be able to, and I do work part time still, so it just takes up a lot of time to create and do all these things that I want to do. Yeah, it is exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, I got a little. Sometimes I find that I have to kind of punch it in there on those corners. If you've ever painted anything dimensional or like done ceramics, that's got edges and nooks and crannies, and this is called undercuts actually when it's underneath an area. So you got to kind of pay attention to those, and the back side of the wing too needs to be hit a little bit. Now that's something I can always do afterwards when it's dry. Like I said, I hope I'm going to be able to finagle this thing in there enough. All right, let's cover up that head. So yeah, because the clay is so soft, you don't want to just put a real hard brush on it. You can see I'm sort of like dabbing it and brushing it, like light brushing it. But I've got the first coat on, and it don't look like much now, but once you start getting all your other dimensions on. Now, I will tell you that to put on I'm going to age this down or distress it, or they call it grunging these days, or whatever you want to call it. I will have to actually bake this first and then put that on afterwards. Now, if I really want to make this for outside, a good thing to do is put some like marine varnish or something like really, and it'll kind of make it shiny because once it bakes, it gets a little dull. But if you want to bring it back, you can also put a varnish on it. And or sometimes if it's an indoor piece, I have like that water-based acrylic polyurethane that you can use. That's what I like to use, and you can use that on there too. But it will give it a little sheen. But if it's going to be outdoors, they say that marine varnish actually works pretty good. I've yet to really use any kind of. I put it on a couple of my pieces that I wanted to be a little bit more shiny. They do make polymer glazes too, like glazes for the polymer paint. I mean the polymer clay, but I don't really see any purpose. If I was doing jewelry, I would probably do that, but I don't really mess with jewelry too much. I've got a whole pile. I used to be a person that was into doing junk jewelry. I have a lot of pieces sitting in there in my closet, hanging on my jewelry rack that I hardly ever wear, but they're really fun. They're like junk gypsy jewelry pieces where I take the pieces apart and kind of put them back together and make some really cool things out of them. And they're really neat. I should probably just try to sell those off because I don't really wear them anymore. But they're fun. They were fun to wear. I like all that. I'm kind of like, I guess I'm an old hippie in a sense. No, I'm not really a hippie. I thought people used to think I'm a hippie, but I'm not really a hippie, even though I'm a child of the 60s. But I never really got into that too much. But a lot of people think because I lived in North Carolina and lived off the grid and I was doing all these crazy outdoor adventurous things, they used to call me a hippie or granola. I'm like, nope. Although there's nothing wrong with that either. Okay. So I'm finally glad. I'm so excited to actually get this thing painted. I've had this lamp structure, this lamp thing sitting here for at least a month. And every time I'd come into my studio, in the middle of having to do something else and I'm dropping off something, I look at it and go, I can't wait to get to you. So the next thing I'm going to be doing besides the Crafty Bunch events is I will be starting my first big, like probably 4-foot totem pole. And I'll be coming on live to show you how I am going to pour the concrete and make the base for that and everything. So you guys get to see how that's done. I need to do another small one too as a tabletop one. And I can just use plaster Paris for that because I'm going to do a cross theme actually for the next Live Painting Sisterhood. I'm going to do a cross theme on next Thursday. And I kind of was thinking about doing it in a totem form. with a cross. So that's going to be kind of cool. But I need to get my wire and my base ready. So that's on my to-do list. All right. Stopping to say hi. Oh, hey there, Adrena. How are you? About to feed my girl and the twins some lunch. Well, girl, you go do that. I know you got your hands busy with them kiddos. I'm older. My kids are already grown. I've got grandkids, okay? And my daughter pretty much takes care of them. I get to see them sometimes. I live about 45 minutes from them, so I don't get to see them as much. But yep, I've been there, done that. I get you. Yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm working on this dragonfly piece on my lamp. It's going to be my totem lamp. Okay. So I'm just trying to get this last piece finished off here before I bake it. And then I can do all my other little ditties on it. It's good to have you here, though. I'm glad you stopped in. Okay, let's see. And Adriana, I'm so excited for you. I don't know if you're still here, but I'm so excited for you and how your page is growing. That's awesome, girl. That's, ooh, it's kind of like so cool, but it's almost a little scary because it's like this huge like thing now. You know, you've got all these followers and all these people, and like, you know, you got like performance stuff you got to do. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really been pushing my followership. I'm just kind of organically letting it happen. I am almost close to 1,000 people, though. I'm like, I keep watching it. I'm like 880 something. So maybe when the spotlight thing comes in March, it might help bump my page up a little bit, get me some more followers. Which, you know, I like. Yes, I definitely want followers because I want to be able to make some more things and inspire people and also see if I can sell some other pieces and stuff. Okay. Terry says, I have 5 grandchildren and another on the way. My kids are getting older and I'm not. That's true. We are not getting older. We're getting better. When I turned 50, like I said, I'm going to be 62 April 11th. And when I turned 50, said I'm start regressing back 2 years. So it's been 12 years. No, it's been 10. Yeah, 12 years. So I guess if you go back 2 years, what is that? Every 12 years. I'm horrible with math, guys. All right. So, but yeah, I always say that I'm kind of regressing. So literally, I'm probably about 40 something. Really? Okay. All right, so I think that that's a good first coat, honestly. There's a little bit of, but you know, like I said, I'm going for that kind of aged effect, so I don't care about it. Yeah, I know you said you're about 60. Yeah, like I told you, I used to live in Arizona. I lived in Tucson, and then I lived in Tombstone, believe it or not, Tombstone, Arizona, and then Tucson, and then from there, where did I go? Oh, I think we ended up going to New Mexico after that. Me and my ex-husband. And then Vegas, lived out there in that desert for quite a few years. And I moved to the East Coast in 2000. I left Las Vegas, leaving Las Vegas, and then I've been in Florida ever since 2000. So, and I like it. I do miss the West Coast sometimes, though. I really do. There's just certain things about the West Coast that are so cool and unique. And I love the desert. Except my nose used to get really dry. My sinuses, I'd have to put Vaseline up my nose all the time because I would have like such dry nose. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. I lived in Tucson half of my life and the other half here in Sholo. I'm trying to remember, explain to me where Sholo is again, Terry. I know I've heard of it. I'm just trying to place it in relative, like, what's the next, like, major little town or city? You know, I know most of the areas in New Mexico. I mean, New Mexico, in Arizona. I'm not looking for. I need a rag. I've got a little blip here that I need to touch up. And actually, I don't even know why I'm bothering with it because by the time I get the brown on there and kind of age it down, you're not even going to be able to see that. Yeah, I'm not even going to mess with that because I'll just probably screw it up. Okay, so that is that. Now, the only other thing I was thinking about, since I've got this color on, is to add these little, I'm deciding if I really want to go that way. If I want to go, I could actually just use paint and do it that way, or create the actual little decorative balls, kind of like I have on the bottom here, and do some of these little decorative balls along the edges of here. You know, do I want to take the time and go that fancy, or I could just leave it like that, and I could actually just take my stylus and just kind of punch a little color in there, which would be the easy. That'd be the lazy man way out, you know. So to tell you the truth, I think I might just do it that way. I might just add a little color in each one of these little divots that I've created. It's in the mountains. You go through Globe, Arizona, also near Pine Top Lakeside. You know, I'm going to have to Google that because I just can't place it right now. All right, so I'm going to tie in, I think, a little bit of the green on my leaves. Okay, I'm going to tie that in on the edges of this guy here, just for a little color interest. And then probably going to put a little bit, I just want a little extra color of this, ba, 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 of the clay color. Clay and a little bit, just a smidge of blue somewhere, so that I'm trying to kind of tie it in so it all looks fairly coordinated, but just a little bit of color. Got a Facebook user here. Let's see, my phone just kind of went down on me. Let's see who this is, Facebook user. Not sure. Where are you at? Here's my thing at. So see if I can see my comments here. I see a Facebook user. Not sure who you are. You could tell me. The person that just says, hi, Kim. We have a ski resort up here too. It's Sunrise. Oh, Sunrise sounds very familiar. It's very familiar, girlfriend. All right, so a way that I am going to just put these little guys in here, I'm just going to add, like I said, touch of color. Quick little way. If anybody's ever done seen dotting, you know how they do like the mandala dotting and all that, they use little things like this, like the little stylus, and they just dot, dot, dot. So, oh, it's Angie. Angie, I don't know why in the world you never show up for me. But thank you, girl. It's good to see you. But yeah, they use these little things, and that's how they do their little dots. They have a series of these different ones. So, but for me, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little dot interest in each one of these things. It works pretty good, actually. And all you have to do is like one little, if you got enough paint on there, you usually get a pretty good gob on there. And then you can just kind of do a one dot, and maybe sometimes you get away with two. All right. And like I said, once I get this baked, I'll be able to go back over it and add any additional colors that I want to add on here. But I could have done this after the fact it's baked too, but I figured what the heck, I'll just go ahead and put it on here. It's Terry. Okay, so Terry, now you're on your own page and it's saying Facebook user. I don't understand. I think that they just do so many updates all the time that sometimes things get knocked out, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why, but people have to sometimes like reset themselves up for the StreamYard link if they want me to actually be able to see them on StreamYard. What's kind of cool about this too is if I want to, I can just press into it a little bit more, make it more of an indentation. So what you up to, Angie? Angie, darling, how's everything going? Glad to hear your son's okay. Your hubby's doing better. Boy, I know that's some scary stuff when your kids are sick, especially in the hospital. So he has asthma, huh? All right. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually put a little extra colored dot on top of that if I wanted to go real crazy, but I think I'm just going to leave it this green by itself. I know Facebook is always changing. It is rather frustrating at times. It really can be. But hey, it seems to be the only platform out here, except unless you're on YouTube, which is, I do have a YouTube channel, by the way, if anybody wants to join me over there as well. And to tell you the truth, I am broadcasting with the StreamYard. I am broadcasting on my YouTube channel, but quite frankly, oh, you know what? I've got some paint I need to color in there. I don't really, I'm so bad at promoting things. I don't promote my YouTube like I should, and my other platforms. I'm so horrible with that. I wish I had the money to really hire a marketer to do all that for me. That'd be really great. Takes too much time. I just want to create. I'm sure all you other girls feel the same way. Okay. A couple little places I'm realizing I missed here with my paint. I think it looks pretty good. So what I'm going for like this is kind of like a stone finish, sort of like when it gets done, I think it's going to look sort of like that. I feel like my earbud's about ready to come out. And I got to be careful about where I'm grabbing this thing because it's all, in the beginning I could pretty much grab it anywhere, but now everything's clay and I don't want to create too many impressions in anything. So I can only really grab it on the metal. Now, by the way, too, once it's painted, once it's baked, I'm going to go with this metal part and I'm going to paint these metals with some chalk paint and the base too. I'm not going to leave it the brass color because I think that's kind of ugly myself. I'll paint those up another color, probably, I don't know, we'll see, either brown or the off-white or whatever, just kind of see what I think looks right once I get it all together. It'll probably be more of an earthy brown tone or something like that, I think. Stop it, Kim. Keep hitting that little thing down bottom. Yeah, so like I said, if anybody's ever done, like, I have never really done those little dot things. I mean, I like to use dots a lot in my works. I think they're cool, but I've watched some videos and whatnot, and that's what they do. That mandalas is they use these little mini stylus of various sorts to create the dots, and I've learned to use them, incorporate them in my stuff. So Angie's saying it was really scary because his oxygen level, ooh, good night, it fell 44. Dang, he lost consciousness? Oh my God, girl, I would be freaking the heck out. Heck yeah. I know a little bit about oxygen levels. I have one of my clients that works with, and she's on oxygen, and we have to keep track of her oxygen every day. I'm always taking her oxygen level. That's scary. Dang, girl, I can't believe he passed out. So freaky. So did the ambulance come or were you guys able to get him to the hospital, like on your own? I don't know. I'd be calling 911 on that one. Yeah, it's very scary when your kids get sick. It's heart-wrenching. Okay. Man, I got a little green over here on this little spot. Dang it. You know what? You know how you fix that? You use a baby wipe. Olga! Oh my gosh! Hello, girlie. Hi. It's good to see you, Olga. Olga is an old friend of mine old still friend of mine from Panama City when I used to live there. Yeah, she's a really fabulous watercolor artist too, by the way, but among other things, but really, really, really shines with the watercolor. And she's still doing it up in Panama City. What you got going on up there, girl? I miss Panama City sometimes. I really do. I miss the beach. Robert and I talk about it occasionally about, maybe we'll have to keep talking about how we're going to go back and take a little vacay. But you know how life goes sometimes. You don't always do the things you want to do. Let's see. It's good to see you, though, Olga. What you been up to, girl? She says, good to see you working on your beautiful projects. Thanks for compliments. Yeah, yeah. I see you're really involved with the Bay Arts Alliance and all that sort of thing. And Flora, Florilopolis, right? That's what it's called. See, I haven't forgotten. Florilopolis, you still working down there, doing all kinds of teaching and whatnot? Or are you still working out of your home mainly? Okay, so yeah, so that's right now. I think, I don't know, am I going to put anything else on? Yes, I do want to color. I want to put a little bit of color. Yeah, I think I'm going to do his head in the clay color. Just do his head, maybe touch a little bit on his body with the clay. Should I do that? Should I chance it, ladies? I think I will. I think I'll chance it. I can always paint over it. The thing about it is if I did this when it's actually baked, I'd have more opportunity to kind of clean it up when it's not, because I don't want a lot. I want more like a dry brush on top of this. I just want a little bit of color, kind of like just lightly. That's even probably more than I wanted, but I'm not going to stress over it too much. Put a little bit on his head, because I can actually always go back with the other color when it's dry. Look what happened. Cheap brushes. Oh, that's what I get for letting them sit in water too long. I'm horrible with that, guys. I really am. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I didn't really want that much paint on here. I just want a touch. I'm just kind of taking it off. I want a little bit of color. Little bit. Yeah, like I said, I will, and you'll see it when it's finished. You'll see a little bit more color on it. I planned on doing that. So, but I don't want it to be, I want it to look kind of aged. Uh-oh. My friend slash roommate that lives with us just had 5 teeth pulled today, guys. So her other friend is over here kind of babysitting her for a while. I'm having my day out in the studio, but that sucks. 5 teeth. Yikes. I think the most I've ever had pulled at once was 2. Robert's had 3 pulled at one time. Okay. See, I just want it like really, 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 really light. Just like a real funky aged sort of effect going on. I know it's said it's so hard unless I get it super close. That's kind of what I'm going for. And when I get the other brown tones in there, you guys will understand how it's all going to tie together. I've had to glue some of my own. Yeah, I know. Like I said, these are, I don't even know. I usually buy the packs at Walmart, to tell you the truth. When was doing paint party stuff, I had the better brushes, and I still have a lot of those. But I try not to use those for my crafting stuff because, there are occasions where I do a little bit of paint party, and I don't want to trash them out. I've already trashed out a few of my brushes because I'm so horrible. I don't take care of them like most people do, especially because I do mainly, this kind of stuff. And it's not, I do keep a couple nice ones if I do any like decent painting. Okay. All right. So that one looks pretty good. All right. And then I think I'm at a little touch of blue, and then I'm going to call it good. I have to get like a light blue, something just kind of like lightly touch on the wings. His eyes, though, I think I need to paint his eyes. I don't know what color I should do. Maybe blue eyes. I think I'll do the eyes in blue or green. What do you guys think? Blue or green? Blue or green for the eyes? Your clay creation is so beautiful thing. Well, thank you, Olga. I really appreciate that. Kim's got. Oh, yeah, I know. I need to come paint with you. I really should. Oh, I love it. We never even got a chance to do that. Yeah, I am like so jazzed about Olga, as you've seen, I'm like in love with the clay. That's pretty much what I'm doing these days. I don't do much painting unless it's on the clay. Let me grab a blue. I need to get a blue here and I want a real light blue. Where's my blues? I don't have a decent, most of my blues are old. I'll use this one. I'm going to mix this down because I want it to be kind of a really, really light blue, sort of match the color. I don't have a blue. Hold on a second, guys. Yeah, Olga, I would love to be able to come up there again and play around and create with you. It's just, I don't know, whenever I get an opportunity. Excuse me, guys, I'm digging in a box here with some of my other paints from when I'm painting with my little lady. I've got a client that's 91. Maybe you guys have seen some of the little paintings. She's painted twice with me. I'm trying to get her back into it. We might paint next Tuesday, I think. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of like I'm not pushing her. It's whenever she feels like it. Okay. So I need to mix a little bit of my white. Come on now, Kim, get your paints together. And I'm going to put a little bit of touch of blue on this, and then that's it. And then I'm just going to stop, and then I will bake this puppy. But Olga, one of the things I was mentioning is that besides this crazy lamp thing that I've been working on, see this apparatus here, I am going to start doing full-on totems, like tall ones, 4-feeters, some tabletop ones, and things like that. This, you guys might have seen this. And honestly, I'm debating whether I want to sell this in the auction because I really love it. This is kind of like a small version of the bigger versions that I can do, and they're going to be very, very different. But this is like a little tabletop guy that I created a couple weeks ago, I guess. But I really like that idea, and I'll do some smaller ones too. But I'm really digging the idea. Okay, great. Now I can't find the brush part. Find a new brush. I'm working with these totems because they're so fun and creative. All right, we're going to mix a little bit of blue here. I need a very light blue. How's that? That's not too bad. We're going to go with that. I'm just put a little bit of blue on his eyes. I'm going to put a little touch of blue on the wings. So if you guys can see, he does have a little bit of blue. I'm not painting it all the way because I don't want it painted all the way. I want it to look rough and aged. Just kind of dotting it really. Now, this, I literally want it to be kind of like watered down. I don't want it colored hardly at all. Okay. Just kind of putting a little bit of touch, sort of like a watercolor effect, sort of on top. Then I'll bake this puppy up. There we go. That's kind of what I'm after. Just a little bit of something. Like I said, I will put a brown distressing over all of this, so it's going to take it down a bit once it's all done. Yeah, yeah. The problem with me keeping things is that I've got so much stuff between my stuff, other people's stuff. I mean, I love what I do. And then honestly, we've got a big space here where we live. We're living in a rental, which we're considering buying because the landlord's like all about us buying it. But it doesn't have a really good, we have a lot of assets, but no like great outdoor space for hanging out. And so I'm a little like for like I don't have a decent patio, I don't have a deck or anything like that. So anything that goes outdoors is going to be like sitting out in the elements, and I'm like, I don't really like that idea. So I don't know. I for the big ones, I'm gonna work on trying to get something locally done and maybe try to sell them. But for right now, that's too much blue. I think I don't even want that much blue. Um, I am going to just make them and then figure out my spots to sell them. Now, I pulled a little bit of that paint off there. If you do that, you can actually do that. There's a little bit of spot right here that I took the actual paint, the this paint off of the piece, but no fear, just paint it back on. So I just have to kind of call it good. I think I'm just going to leave it like this, and then get it, once I get it baked, I can just tweak it with the colors still. And if I do decide to make it an outdoor piece, then I will put a varnish on it so it protects it a little bit. Okay. All right. So I think I'm about done, guys. I honestly do. If I decide to do anything else to it, it will be after it's baked. Let me show you a full view here. Maybe put it on my little turnstiles. That'd be easier to show. Okay. Very funky piece for sure. All right, so here it is. I get my camera back far enough so you can actually see the darn thing. It's so tall. All right, so it's like that. This will, all this brass pieces, I'll be chalk painting them or something after they're done. But then, like I said, once I get da 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 da, and this piece done, it will be kind of like I'll tie this brown in here. I'll tie the brown into the bottom brown base, and I'll make it all so it's kind of coordinated together like a earthy tones. But I think I'm pretty good with it so far, unless I decide to add a few more touches along in here to just add some extra decorative something or another. But I don't know. But I just wanted you guys to see the process. And this is, like I said, it's been steps, a little bit of a step process, but I do have it done. And now it's time to go bake the darn thing and pray for me with the baking that it's going to be very awkward to kitty corner in my oven. I wish I had a big old industrial oven. That'd be great. Okay, so let's see. Terry L says, I love that you can see my, yep. And adding that water really makes it perfect. So it's, yeah. So yeah, exactly. So there is a little bit of touch. I mean, a little bit of something to know about when you're painting on raw clay and the baked clay as well. When it's raw, of course, it's really sticky. So, but you can still do some of the basic techniques, like if you're painting on a canvas or wood or whatever, you can water it down a little bit, definitely. Like I said, you want to use a fairly decent brush that's kind of soft because you don't want to, the most you want a streaky effect, or like I said, you can do your little sponge daubers depending on what you're doing. So, and that's when it's raw. Now, when it's baked, it's kind of, it's hard and it's more of a smoother surface, unless you got a little texture, but it's still got that smooth surface. It's not like using bisque ceramics, where ceramics are like, they really soak in. The actual clay, when it's baked like this, is a little bit more smooth. So it's important to keep that in mind when you're painting, but you just have to kind of paint it and get a feel for it. But once it's hard, you can do a lot more things with it than when it's sticky and raw. Okay, guys. Any more questions? And can't wait to see. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go turn on my oven and get it baked now and pray for the best. And then I'll work up some little flower or something for the very top of this part here to finish it off on a cute little flower or something. Da da da. I couldn't exactly figure out what to put on there. I thought a sunflower, but not for this piece. It might just even be like a little ball with a little something flower on it. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate you ladies hanging out today. A little impromptu, but I'm glad you showed up. And if you would do me a favor and let other people know what I'm doing, I'd really appreciate that. What is your YouTube? YouTube is basically crafting with Kim, same thing. Everything's crafting with Kim with crafting with a K. So you can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe there. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, it's crafting with Kim. And then my mud clay art, my Pinterest is crafting with Kim, but it's Mud.Clay Art. So it's Kim Martinez Mud.Clay Art. And I really was thinking about branding myself differently and changing crafting with Kim to strictly Mud.Clay Art because I pretty much do clay. But then my other Terry Woodham says, well, maybe you want to do something that's not clay related. And I'm like, I don't know, but Mud.Clay Art is what I kind of created that name. And I'm kind of wanting to go with that because it focuses more on the clay, which is kind of more of a branding thing, but we'll see. I don't know. All right, ladies, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go bake this puppy and see how it goes. And then I'll post some pictures or maybe even do another little quick, video or something like that. Maybe a little reel and show you how it's finishing off. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Got any questions? Just obviously let me know. I'm here for you. All right. Have a good day. Thanks, Olga. Thank you, girlie.